So in section 2B, it starts out with a list of all the customary systems, the US customary system, all the feet and inches and pounds and gallons and time that we generally use in the US and what they all equal. And these are some things that they think that you should know. We don't necessarily think that you should know. The ones that I highlighted are ones that we think that you should know. So if it's highlighted, then make sure it ends up on your little post-it, your little index card that we had talked about earlier. Other than that, I don't know that I would really stress over whether or not you stick it on your little post-it. For example 1, and basically 2B is like a continuation of what happened in 2A. We do it the exact same. That's why I taught you that way in 2A. So it says the Kentucky Derby distance is 10 furlongs. How far is the Kentucky Derby in yards? So we start with the 10 for, oh, it helps if I change from the highlighter. Let's go back to my pretty, we didn't have like a, more colors, new, current, standard, custom, nope, okay, fine. Alright, so we'll just do this one. Okay. It starts out with 10 furlongs. And it wants us to go to yards. So this is where they talk about furlongs, right? We could go from furlongs to rods. Over here we have rods to yards. Or we could go from furlongs to miles and then from miles to yards. Do you want to go to rods and then rods to yards? That keeps us away from the fractions. Let's do that. So 10 furlongs, and then it says that 1 furlong, that's got to go on the bottom. We learned that in the last section, is equal to 40 yards. Sorry, 40 rods. I can do this. And then 1 rod, according to this, is equal to 5.5 yards. Multiplying across the top, dividing by the bottom, we get that this is 2,200 yards. Then they want to know how many feet. Well, I'm going to start from the 2,200 yards. I know that 1 yard equals 3 feet. My yards can cancel out. So that's 6,600 feet. Ta-da! Nothing different, just using facts that they give us instead of facts that we already know. That's the only difference. Price comparisons. Unit rates, sometimes called unit prices, is the cost of 1 unit of measure of an item. To compare unit prices, we must find the unit price of each item separately, write each unit price using the same units, choose the item with the smallest unit price. The key here is to always put the money on top. You always want to put the money on top. For price comparisons, always keep the money on top. So it says you can buy a box of 150 Sharpie pens for $165. That's 150 pens for $165. Or a dozen pens. How many is a dozen? That's 12 pens. For $13.50. So I need to stick my $13.50 on top and my 12 pins on the bottom. I need the same unit on the bottom, so I couldn't put dozen on the bottom. I needed to have the number of pins on the bottom. Couldn't put one box on the bottom. I needed to have the number of pins on the bottom. So over here, when I do this calculation, 160 divided by 150, I end up with $1.10 per pen. Over here, when I do this calculation, I end up with $1.125 per pen. Which one is smaller? $1.10 or $1.125 per pen? This one is smaller, which makes this the better buy. Now, some of you are saying they go ahead and do this for you at the store. And it's true. They do this for you at the store. Sometimes. Sometimes. Not all the time. Sometimes they want you to think that they do this for you at the store, but they don't. If you read carefully, you'll find out they really don't do this for you at the store. So you can go to the store and you can look at, say, Cheez-Its. Boxes of Cheez-Its. You can have boxes of Cheez-Its, and they'll have, for the family box of Cheez-Its, they'll have how much it is per ounce written down. And you'll go, okay. And then right beside it, they'll have the cost of the box and then how much it cost per serving written down. And then beside that, they'll have the next size up and how much it costs per pound written down. You have to be oh so careful. If you go to big box stores, they can have how much it costs per ounce, how much it costs per pound, how much it costs per can, how much it costs per serving. I have looked at them and seen, because those numbers did not make sense to me until I read what they really were. Then I got mad because I knew they were trying to trick you into buying something more expensive. So be very, very careful when you're going by what they say, and go ahead and do the calculations for yourself. You can rent a storage locker for $30 per yard square per month, or for $1.90 per foot square per week. So when you do it for $30, per yard squared per month. You have to put the month on the bottom because it's per, so it goes on the bottom. The 190 has to go on top. Per feet squared per week will go on the bottom. So all those things go on the bottom. Now they want to know which one is the better buy, but remember we said our bottoms have to be the same before you can compare. So we have to either make this yard square per month equal our feet square per week, or our feet square per week equal our yard square per month. So we're going to have to change one of them. I'm going to change my yard square per month to my feet squared. So how many yards are in feet is the question. So I started out with the $30. Yard squared month. We know that a yard has 3 feet. So 1 yard is 3 feet. But I need 2 of them so I can get my feet squared and get rid of my yard squared. So that took care of those 2. And then I need to change my month to weeks. 1 month typically has 4 weeks in it. Typically. Not all the time, but typically. So that'll take care of my months. So now I've got 30 on top. I can divide by 3 and divide by 3 and divide by 4. And when I do, I end up with 0.83 over feet squared per week. Now I've got feet squared per week and feet squared per week. Which one is smaller, the 0.83 or the 1.90? 0.83. So that means that this one is the much better deal. Much better deal. Okay. I'll see you in the next one.